Praise be to Jesus. Hi everyone, Charles here with you. Well, I'm just looking at my Facebook feed here, and Dr. Bowring has posted something. It's a blog on canon law, and it brings up a really interesting point that I didn't really know anything about. So what it is it deals with canon law about schism. And, I think of schism in a certain sort of way. In other words, if I'm disobedient to a superior, then I could put myself in schism. So you think of this as a hierarchy in a vertical level, in a vertical sense, where you're called to be obedient. Well, actually, what this article is about is there's another kind of schism, and this is called horizontal schism. Now, horizontal schism is when, let's say, bishops are in disagreement. So like bishop against bishop, cardinal against cardinal, priest against priest. So there's this horizontal schism. Now, what the article is talking about, or using as an example, is what just happened with Cardinal Burke. In other words, word is being passed down. The article goes into this, and I'm not going to read to the article, but you could read it. It's really not that long. But for those of you who don't want to read the article, I'm trying to explain to you what's going on here, or what this concept is all about. So with Cardinal Burke, apparently word has been passed on to him. Well, maybe not to him, I don't know, to him, but to other bishops and cardinals, to not to invite him to to any kind of function that they have. If he happens to be at a function where they are, don't have your picture taken with them, don't talk to them. So this is what. So actually, what this is all about is that wherever this is coming from, which one would assume the Pope, obviously, through the Vatican, bishops and cardinals are being told to isolate him and push him off to the side. In other words, they're actually promoting a horizontal schism, is actually what it comes down to. So, I mean, this is something, new to me, and, probably new to most of you. I made a video about this, but it didn't occur to me that there's actually, I remember at the end of the video, I said, this is really a very, serious situation, or something along those lines, some words I used that to indicate that it was. I thought this really seems to be serious. And in fact, it really is. It's actively promoting a horizontal schism. And no wonder why they don't want to put anything in writing. I mean, that's like, sort of like signing your own death warrant, so to speak. I mean, that's evidence that could be used against the Pope or whoever, or people in the Vatican. So all this is by word of mouth, and of course, how far word of mouth stands up in a court, so this is a really interesting kind of way to look at it. So I'm just going to leave the link to this article. Like I said, it's not that long, and it's worth reading. I pretty much covered what the whole concept is. So, but if you still want to read it, I'll leave it in the description box. All right, so we'll talk to you later. Bye. Okay, well, I've had an afterthought, which is important also. The fact is that Cardinal Burke has done nothing to go against Catholic dogma, doctrine, teaching, anything. He's done nothing that would realistically or in any sort of way make any sense that would precipitate other cardinals and bishops pushing them off to the side and, not being want to scene with them or photograph with them, or, in other words, to shun them. He's done absolutely nothing against any official teaching or anything, which makes, I think, this is mentioned also in the article, and this is what makes all of this so very strange, I mean, what's the basis for doing this is, I think maybe the article itself doesn't raise that question, but you really wonder, well, what's the basis? I mean, well, why is he being pushed off to the side? And I think we know, but they're not going to say that. I mean, it's obvious they're trying to isolate him and limit his ability to make the traditional arguments for upholding Catholic doctrine and teaching, and they want to limit that in the same way as they want to, stamp out traditional websites. I made another video about a book that came out, and the Vatican put pressure on the publisher not to reprint it or something. I forget exactly. I make so many videos. I don't want to speak when I'm not really sure. But I know the Vatican. That video was about the Vatican putting pressure on the publisher to maybe only publish so many copies or something, or not to publish another edition, or I'm not sure exactly what it was. But you see in all these different ways. And but in this particular way, this is particularly fascinating about how canon law reads, and what exactly is going on here. So it's another consideration. It's another weapon of this papacy to stamp out traditional Catholicism and official doctrine and teachings of the Catholic Church, and just sort of like make up a new church. They're gonna use the Catholic Church as a sort of a springboard into forming their own religion here. And I know people are frustrated. I read a comment today about how frustrated somebody was about what we can do. As laity, not all that much. But I mean, we can. I know when I pray, I feel like, well, what's the sense? I mean, this is just really, headed in one direction. There's just no way to stop it. And on top of that, I believe that the second coming of Christ isn't that far away, and this would be one of the things that has to happen. In other words, this is just part of the final sifting. Where, all baptized Catholics in the world are going to be given a choice, unless they want to remain ignorant, and God holds them responsible for that anyway. So, they need to make a choice about whether they're going to support wherever this new church is going. I don't know. I don't really consider the church to be Catholic anymore. There is a Catholic church, but it's not a physical church. It's those of us that hold on to tradition, and we make up what's called the remnant faithful, and it's in the mind and the heart of God is where this church exists. It doesn't really exist on paper, and it's not really part of the church per se. The way it is today. So I just doubled the amount of time that I talked the first time. All right. Well, I think I covered what I wanted to. So now I'll say again, we'll talk to you later. Bye.